in the last session we were looking at the impact matrix. So, we were looking at the possible trends which you may have with respect to an organization, and suppose you denote those trends by T1, T2, T3, T4. What is important to know is the probability of occurrence of these trends. For example, suppose you think that you have an economy which is going to be a boost in the next year, that is you will have an upsurge in economic growth in the country. How it is going to impact the company? So, what is the probability of occurrence of this upsurge in economy? Suppose you give that as 0.8, then how this is going to impact your strategies. So, you should, as a strategist, you should always keep more than one strategy. Suppose something happens as per plan, that one strategy goes into action. Suppose it does not work, you should have one more strategy. So, normally organizations keep up to 4 strategies: S1, S2, S3, S4. So, what is the impact of this trend T1 on S1, on S2, S3 and S4? They try to measure or assess. So, depending on the intensity of the impact, they will pick up that strategy which is going to be beneficial to the organization. So, this is the impact scale is given at the bottom here. So, you have a 0 which means no impact, you have a -1 which is moderately unfavorable, -2 which is extremely unfavorable, and then going to +1 moderately favorable and +2 extremely unfavorable. So, if you, this is what is called a Likert scale. Likert scale is a 5-point scale and generally made use of in these types of matrices to assess the impact on organizations. So, in this particular case, looking at the impact of the trends on strategies. Now, you look at an organization from the competitive analysis angle. So, this is what we have to look at in the present day context. Why should you study competition? This is the first question you have to answer. In order to study this or answer this question, you have to answer 2 sub questions. What is driving competition in the specific industry? Okay. So, you may be thinking that there are so many players in the industry. So, all of them need to make a mark in the marketplace. If they do not make a mark in the marketplace, they will get eliminated, all those types of things. Then what actions competitors are likely to take in the wake of increased competition? Suppose you take for example a very simple this thing. Take the city of Bangalore. Bangalore is well known for number of restaurants, okay, and giving you very tasty dishes. You find almost on a regular basis some new restaurant opening up in many roads in Bangalore. Also you see on a regular basis many of these restaurants getting closed also. But some of them, though they are small, they have withstood this onslaught by these bigger players in the marketplace for number of decades. Okay. So, one good name that you can think of which has withstood this is having very limited menu is this Vidyarthi Bhavan in Gandhi Bazaar. Started before independence, survived for nearly 80 years in spite of heavy competition. His main item is the masala dosa. Though there was so much of pressure on him to, that is the owners of this restaurant, to open branches, they have held on to Bangalore only, Gandhi Bazaar only in Bangalore. Now, what is the characteristic of this restaurant which is making it successful for so many decades? The simple answer for this is the taste of the dosa which he serves you. So, the culinary expertise with respect to his item. Similarly, one more restaurant is the MTR. In spite of so many restaurants coming in and around that place only, MTR is sought after by people in Bangalore and also from outside. What is the reason for that? Again, the taste, the cleanliness, the hygienic atmosphere. Though a small place compared to the bigger restaurants, it provides for you a good culinary taste and it also gives you a good menu. Unlike Vidyarthi Bhavan which has got very limited menu, MTR has got more items on its menu. Okay. So, this is what really characterizes competition. I took this very simple example of a restaurant because this is what is happening in and around us which you can see, and this comes or this drives you to find out what is the industry structure which makes this competition going. The industry structure which makes competition going can be put under 4 heads. One is perfect competition, second is monopolistic competition, third is oligopoly, fourth is monopoly. We look at the factors which characterize each one of these competition. Now, take for example perfect competition. The number of factors which characterize perfect competition are many. Maybe I will illustrate to you in a very short while with an example. When you have too many factors with respect to your product, the product differentiation between players becomes less and less. That is, if there are 10 players, you tend to think that all the 10 players are good. They are coming up with good products, not much to choose between A, B, C, D, etc. Then the entry or exit in such a type of competition is open. That is, anyone can enter and anyone can leave in this type of a competition. What could be a good example for this? Take in the city of Bangalore, take one of these well known items with respect to grocery, that is a rice. So, one of the well known rice brand or rice brands which are sold by so many stores in Bangalore is what is called the Bangar Sanna. Okay. This rice is sought after by a large number of people in Bangalore. So, large number of customers purchase this Bangar Sana. Now, they are also purchasing Sona Masuri, things like that, but this Bangar Sana still holds sway. Now, if you take this brand of rice from shop A and shop B, you find that both this shop A and shop B are giving you an identical product, that is not much to choose from. There is not much of a differentiation which takes place. Okay. So, this is the type of scenario which you usually have. Then the second one is what is called the monopolistic competition. In this, whereas in a perfect competition where you do not have any yardstick by which you can dismiss one player from the marketplace at the expense of the other player, it is also open to the players to either enter or exit from the market. There are so many producers of Bangar Sana rice. So, if you take the state of Karnataka, this rice comes to this state not only from within the state, but also from Andhra, all those types of places which are neighboring Karnataka. So, if you look at monopolistic competition, what is happening, what is characterizing? There are number of factors which are differentiating a product from one product to the other, but the product differentiation between each player, that is A, B. So, the same Bangar Sana rice which I gave you, in the case of monopolistic competition, you may be able to differentiate between A and B. So, there is one of the players might not be giving that fine variety of rice which you expected Bangar Sana to be. So, there is a product differentiation which is taking place. So, this is happening with respect to so many of the other dal items also. They say this brand of tur dal, normally this Ganesh brand of tur dal in Bangalore is sought after. So, what is happening in the present day market? Many players are selling their product in this name of Ganesh tur dal, which may not be the correct this thing. So, it may be a fake Ganesh tur dal which is coming. How is the consumer finding it out? Because when you are really using it in cooking, this tur dal really mashes itself very well, cooks very well, that is this Ganesh brand. Suppose you are not, it is not cooking so well, then the house lady will be immediately able to find out that there is something wrong with the dal received from this particular seller. Okay. So, here also in monopolistic competition, you can enter or exit the market. Compared to that, you have oligopoly, where the number of factors to differentiate between product A, product B, etc. are few. There are product differentiations available between players. Entry or exit somewhat restricted. Once you enter, you cannot just exit the market. So, take the example of the fan market. You have so many fans coming in, like this Bajaj, Orient, that thing, this thing and all that, Crompton Greaves. So, all claiming that they are all very good fans. So, when you take this, in addition to that you have local players depending on the city where you are in coming up with their own fans. So, some of these, when you are looking at all these this particular product, the fan, you find that there are not too many players in the market, but there are few players. But suppose a new player wants to upset this market, what does he do? He can come into this market and try to give a vigorous jolt in terms of price. Price is the best yardstick. Suppose you are getting a product at X and the new player comes and says, I am prepared to give it to you at 0.5x or 0.6x in the marketplace compared to the other players, then the Indian market is very susceptible to price. That is, the Indian consumer is very susceptible to price. Suppose one fan, let us say, is priced at rupees 1000 and the new player comes and says, I am selling it to you at 600 rupees with the same features. He may not be able to sustain that price for a long time, but what has he done? He has jolted the established players in the marketplace. This is what characterizes monopoly. This is what happened in the fans market also. One new player came in and gave a jolt to the established players like this Bajaj, Crampton, all those players. No. Given that type of a scenario, in order to exit this type of oligopolistic market, it is not so open as that of perfect competition or monopolistic competition. That is, it is restricted, you cannot just exit that market. So, some restrictions are placed by you, by the market itself or by the government, saying that you cannot exit the market on your whims and fancies, those types of scenarios. Suppose you are in a monopoly market, so there is only one product which is coming out, that is your product. Now, product differentiation, we do not really know about other comparable products. Now, when yours is the only product in the marketplace, you cannot exit that market, that is, the exit is blocked. So, till a few decades back, the Indian skies was dominated by Indian Airlines and Air India. It was almost in a monopolistic market. So, about more than 1.5 decades back, so many new players entered this market. Now, so many new players have made the mark in the market and Air India itself is taken over by Tatas right now. So, that it was in fact came from the house of Tatas, it has gone back to the house of Tatas. So, they have been in a way it is going back to the same house. But in the present day context, still if you look at the transportation sector, the Indian Railways is a monopoly and many times the Indian Railways keeps on claiming that its services have improved, whether with respect to cleanliness, the food which is served during journey has also seen a marked improvement, all those stations are clean, all those types of things. But it is in a monopoly market, kindly note that. So, if Indian Railways wants to exit that market, which it will not, there is no route open to it. It has to be in that market. So, these are characteristics of these different markets, whether it is the perfect competition, monopolistic competition, oligopoly or monopoly. Now, when depending on the type of competition you are in, you have to do a competitive analysis. What is this competitive analysis? This competitor analysis, what is this? Suppose you are either in the monopolistic market or the oligopolistic market or in the perfect competition, you have to look at the competitor, what is his strategy, what is his performance, what is his strengths and weaknesses. Suppose you make one move, what is the type of move he may be making in the marketplace. So, this is where I told you the term strategy is not something very new in the Indian context. It was tried during the Mahabharata war only. Okay. So, in the modern day, as we said, we came across this term strategy in 1965, then in 1974 in the Indian context, then it has now in fact enmeshed itself as an important component of almost every industry. So, the routes to competitive advantage, how can you in this type of a scenario strike competitive advantage or go to competitive advantage in the marketplace? It could be intensifying function differentiation. These are called key factors of success. Okay. So, suppose you are coming out with an automobile, let us say, how do I check your automobile with the competitor's automobile depending on the features that you give. So, in the present day context, when the fuel cost is really hitting the roof, what is really characterizing this automobile market? If you are able to give a product which can mitigate to a large extent this blow given by this rising fuel costs, then it is an important key factor of success in the marketplace. So, what are the players trying to do now in the present day context? They are coming out with hybrid vehicles. What is this hybrid vehicles? The latest to hit this hybrid markets, vehicles market is the Honda City hybrid. What it claims? It claims that it has a tank capacity of 40 liters, and if you fill the tank you can expect to run at least 1000 kilometers. That is, for 1000 kilometers you do not have to fill fuel. That means to say he is claiming at least 25 kilometers per liter. You may just wonder how it is possible to claim 25 liters per 25 kilometers per liter by this manufacturer. The reason he claims this high mileage is hybrid. This vehicle drives on both electric charge as well as fuel. Okay. So, till you are going up to a certain speed limit, generally 40 to 45 kilometers, this vehicle, that is in the city, goes only on electric charge. And how does this electric charge get going in the vehicle? It is due to your braking. So, you apply the brakes, immediately this electric charging starts working. So, your fuel consumption is not through what do you call the usual route of petrol, but through this route of electric charging which takes in. So, automatically the battery gets charged and this goes as a electric vehicle in the city. So, the result is you have increased mileage, or the company claims 28 kilometers, the critics say you can expect about 25 kilometers per liter, and if you fill the tank with 40 liters, you can expect it to go up to 1000 kilometers with one filling. So, with the present day this thing, so you are getting about 1000 kilometers after putting about 40 liters giving you nearly 4400 or whatever, something like that, and you are getting 1000 kilometers. So, this is the type of mileage which the company promises. So, this is what can happen. Then exploit competitors' weakness, this is relative superiority. The result is suppose two companies are giving the same product, say washing powder. This actually happened in the Indian market. So, one of the well known manufacturers is very much there in the Indian market even in the present day, came out with a wonderful product and it is a very quality product. So, that product was priced higher in the marketplace. Then came one more player who offered this product at a very low price, saying whatever this present product of this well known manufacturer is able to perform, my product is also able to do the same thing at a much lower price. So, I am giving you at a much lower price the same product offered by this well known brand. So, there was a huge market demand for this product. So, this well known brand had to come up with a very strong counter strategy. He did not reduce the price of the product, but said this is product A in the marketplace, this is product B in the marketplace, these are the differentiating features of product A and these are the differentiating features of product B, and this is the price of product A, this is the price of product B. Now, you decide which one you want to buy. So, the market still, in spite of the higher price, preferred the well known brands market. This is happening right now. Then ask the question why and whys, that is aggressive initiatives. Some of the players in the present day banking industry are highly aggressive, especially the private players. Somehow they want to sell their products to as many number of customers as possible. Suppose you look at the calls which you are receiving on your mobile phone, many of them are likely to be from these banks or these financial products. This aggressive marketing, saying that I will give you 15% interest, all those types of things, they all carry risks. Because if you look at the present day market trend, expecting an interest of more than 12% is almost impossible. Okay. So, if you get about 10 to 12% in the market place, present marketplace, customers should be very happy. If you look at the bank rates, it is hardly around 6%, okay, for your fixed deposits, and after a certain limit it is taxable also. So, the 6% comes down maybe to even to 4%. So, you are really parking your funds at 4% interest with the bank. So, a 1 lakh for after 1 year gives you 1 lakh 4,000. So, the financial products like this mutual funds and all, compared to this, they expect higher returns to give you at least 8 to 10%, sometimes more than 12%. Suppose a new player comes and says, I will give you more than 12%. You have to take it with a pinch of salt, because many of the new players come to the market with too much of aggressive initiatives. Suppose it does not work out, it backfires in the marketplace. The last one, the route to competitive advantage, is maximize user benefit. This is called strategic degree of freedom. What is the strategic degree of freedom? It gives you, that is the consumer, the leeway. We are talking of this hybrid vehicle. Many times these vehicles, most of these vehicles in the present day setup are coming with automatic gears, that is, the transmission is automatic. But even in the present day also, many people would like to have the manual transmission also with around. So, they may prefer manual, and sometimes when they are perhaps driving on the highway, they may say, okay, let me go to automatic, or there may be the reverse also happening, that is, in the city, let it be automatic. When you are in the highway, normally you are at the top gear, I will be at manual. So, many of these manufacturers give these types of degrees of freedom with respect to the product, that is to the benefit of the user. Suppose you are compared to automatic, your gear driving may give you some 1 or 2 kilometers extra per liter. Suppose you are in the top gear, you are for a consistent period of time. So, this is what really maximizes the benefit for the user. So, these are the types of routes to competitive advantage. So, these aggressive initiatives which you are saying, ask these questions why and whys. This is also in marketing terminology called the guerrilla warfare. So, this happened in Bangalore only. Okay. What is this bang? So, you had several decades back one of the well known papers, that is the paper publishers, newsprint industry. This name very popular in Bangalore, in the state of Karnataka itself. So, it publishes from Bangalore, a well known household name in Bangalore. So, in the late 70s and the early 80s, many players wanted to conquer this particular newsprint brand from Bangalore by publishing from Bangalore. So, one of the other leading newspapers started publishing from Bangalore. When it started publishing from Bangalore, this established brand took this new entrant to the court. So, there was a protracted court battle. this established brand from Bangalore trying to prevent this brand publishing from Bangalore. But after hearing the parties, the court said, yes, you can publish from Bangalore also to the new entrant. And so many were waiting in the wings to know about the judgment of this particular battle, newsprint battle. As soon as it went in favor of this new entrants, so many new entrants came into publishing from Bangalore. This is what is the present day scenario. So, this is why I should not publish from Bangalore. What is preventing me from publishing from Bangalore? I would also like to have a slice of the market, that type of scenario. Okay. Now, we have what is called the generic strategies. What are these generic strategies? These generic strategies are given by Porter, as I said. Suppose you draw this type of a simple diagram shown. You have differentiation, you have overall cost leadership, and you have focus. On the vertical axis, it can be industry wide or particular segment only. So, on the horizontal you have the strategic advantage, on the vertical you have the strategic target. So, you can target a particular segment or you can target the entire industry. So, keeping that, it can be with focus, differentiation and overall cost leadership. Now, how does this really work? If you really see, it is the uniqueness perceived by customer on the left hand side. So, differentiation, if you claim, you may claim so many features differentiating your product from the competitor's product, but what is really the customer thinking about it? Is he able to perceive this uniqueness which you are putting out as a differentiating factor? So, sometimes people say, when you are trying to go in for a particular brand of automobile, why not you go in for this particular brand of automobile? It gives you some unique features which this brand is not able to give. So, this is perhaps being felt by the market leader in the automobile industry, that is in the Indian context, that is Maruti. The new brands which have come into the marketplace, especially the new entrants rather, they are not really new entrants, but maybe new entrants to the Indian market compared to Maruti. So, Maruti may be entered first, these people entered later, but when they, after even entering of later, if you see the type of competition that is coming in the Indian automobile industry, many times you wonder. So, look at this vehicle Nexon, totally manufactured by an Indian player and a very good vehicle comparable to any other vehicle in the international marketplace. Okay. So, whether it is running on the fuel or whether it is running on the electric charge, you find that this Nexon is a wonderful vehicle to come out from the Indian manufacturer stable. Similarly, at the end of this other side, when you are looking at overall cost leadership, you are looking at low cost position versus the other positions. So, when you are looking at the right extreme, you are looking at low cost position. So, maybe a vehicle, a smaller vehicle which can fit in a smaller family, you are able to provide it at a very low cost. So, it was happening to this vehicle like this Tata Nano, though not very successful in the marketplace, but Nano was considered to be a very, what do you call, affordable vehicle for a small Indian family. So, from the marketing warfare point of view, competition can be a defensive warfare for market leaders. Why it is defensive warfare for market leaders? Because you want to hold on to your market share. That is where I gave you the example of this washing powder. So, if you look at so many players are there in this particular market segment, but still Hindustan Lever happens to be the leader for a number of years. Offensive warfare for number 2, attack the leader's weak point. Many times you may be successful, not successful, but you may be just below the leader, you may want to become the leader, then companies adopt this. Then flanking warfare for firms with limited resources. Suppose you are not having the resources to take on the leader. So, some brands like this, there was a brand of toothpaste called Promise, good brand with clove oil. It was the differentiating features. Now, you have so many toothpastes offering you this differentiating feature. The result is, in fact, they did not take on Promise head to head, but they flanked Promise. Now, the market share of Promise has come down so drastically. Okay. So, this you can think is the way it happens in the marketplace. This is called flanking warfare. The last one which I gave you was on the guerrilla warfare with respect to these printing houses. One was Deccan Herald, countered by Indian Express, then other players came. Okay. So, we will stop here. We will continue in the next class. Okay, fine. Thank you.